Okay, well, good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. We're here for the launch of the second season of the FA Women's Super League. And as well as that, we're going to have a lively, heated debate about the subject of how we promote women's football going forward.
Steph, we're here at the live debate for the launch of WSL Season 2. Fascinating debate that we just witnessed. What did you make of it all?
I think it was brilliant. I mean, it's obviously something that probably hasn't been done before, and it makes it really interesting that there's so many views on the women's game and also women's sport in general. It's nice to get different views from people from a paper, from a magazine. Helen, who actually plays the game, and obviously our manager, Powell. So yeah, it was a brilliant day so far.
Yeah, it was interesting, some of the comments today, especially from Mick, and I think it kind of got the debate going.
But the England amateur team, men's, doesn't get in the paper. The men's disability teams don't get in the papers.
We're talking about the peak of the female national sport.
I understand that, but in terms of the crowds that you attract, it's the same level as the Ryman League. And the Ryman League doesn't get in the paper.
Oh, I really enjoyed the debate. I thought there was a good balance across the table between those who are hugely passionate and committed about promoting women's football and women's sport and feel that more needs to be done and more responsibility needs to be taken by the national media. And then you've got the reality check of, we're a cost centre, we're a business, this is what we think our customers want to read and this is what we're going to deliver to them. And I think probably somewhere in the middle ground is about right.
I mean, it's nice to start to get people thinking about the whole debate of women in sport, and I think a few facts and figures were put out there as well that a lot of people didn't know.
And they break down big flagship women's sporting events and the Women's World Cup's in there and the Women's FA Cup final. And it's actually more men watching, and there's a big demand amongst men to follow top level women's sport.
I think it's clear to see that the digital media kind of thing with women's sport is really growing, and especially with the FA WSL, it's really kicked off. And I know in the debate we were all sat there, all the players, the digital ambassadors sat there tweeting, and there was a massive kind of response with lots of different debates, questions, ideas, thoughts going on.
I think it's clear that the way forward for women's football, women's sport in general, is primarily through digital media. I'm not one of these people that says, forget all about the back pages and newspaper coverage, you're never going to get anything there, just focus on the digital. Personally, I believe they can go hand in hand, but I do think that digital media plays such a huge role, and we found that with the FA WSL, it's a vital source of information for people. You can't rely on newspapers, magazines, whatever. There's no point in thinking about that, relying on them for fixtures and results.
Women's game is totally different to men's game. We don't compare the skills, therefore we shouldn't compare the media coverage. And I think women's game is massive in digital media. We should make the most of that and the situation they're in.
It's a different world, it's a different game, and I think we should be making the most of that. Twitter, if people are using Twitter, they're using online news sources, that's a great thing. Take it and run with it. I mean, how many of you guys buy newspapers? You three on the front.
They're busy tweeting, as just tweeting about how I don't read newspapers anymore.
But it doesn't mean you don't know what's going on in the world, and it doesn't mean. I just think that that's the forum we should be making the most of. It's not like 5 years ago when you used to go, oh, it's not a very good story, put it online.
I think that the thing that stuck out for me is, we really need to capture the role models that we've got in women's football. There's, especially in women's football, we've got players who study, are full-time mums, got part-time jobs, and they're really inspirational people.
From our point of view as a magazine editor, there's an absolute appetite for really strong, powerful, healthy role models for women at the moment. I feel that there is a bit of a sea change as well, and that other women's magazine editors are also looking for these new, inspiring women.
When I was growing up, we didn't really have that many role models to look up to, and you obviously kind of look towards the men to do that. So if we can provide ourselves as role models and have ability to be in more magazines, more in the public, to be able to, so young girls can see that, then that would be great. And obviously it'll encourage the girls to want to go and try and be a girl footballer when they're older, and obviously play for big teams and be professional, which is obviously the whole aim of the FA WSL, is to make sure that it is professional in a few years' time.
These girls are achieving great things, they're great role models, they're working hard, and they do deserve a bit of recognition. But for me, I think don't worry about it too much. Just get on with what you're doing, because they're doing great things, and I think it's really easy to forget the league's only been in existence for a season.
The WSL was a real big jump in standards compared to the old Premier League. I saw some games in the WSL last season that were just tremendous games. sorry about the comparison, but they could be men's games.
Yeah.
They were real.
But then if you look at it, Tony, and then it goes right, it's full time. Imagine the strides it could make.
Exactly,
again,
exactly.
And that's just 1 year in, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, training, there's a training program. It's the ball at the feet every day, and that is the big difference. Being able to access that environment, training culture every day, is what will push certainly women's football on in this country.
I think it shows that we have got some challenges in the game to get it sort of on broadsheets, but I think where we're doing a really good job is probably with social media, but some lessons learnt today, I think, and some things that we can perhaps take forward for the future.
I think that that it's a really positive step forward, the WSL, and it's going to take time for it to build into something even better, but it's made a really fantastic start, and here's hoping that the momentum continues through this year and through season 2.